Good evening to all the undead ghouls and monsters. We are your horror hosts for tonight's Last Rites. Tonight is episode 15. This is going to be a two-parter, so this will be part 1. And these are movies that we talked about before they came out during last year that we said, hey, we'd like to check these out and give you a little review about them. So here we are. We've now watched these movies, and we're going to give you a review about them.
Yeah, these are all 2023s. For the most part, there's a couple that are a little older than that. But we're, of course, going into full spoilers on these movies. Since we've given enough time, I think, for these ones, I think spoilers are in order.
Yeah, if you haven't seen it by now, then that's on you. So, but... You know, we're doing the nice deed and saying that there are going to be spoilers. So
full spoilers.
If you don't want to hear about it and you want to watch these spoiler free, then just turn the volume down low so we still get the likes.
Exactly.
So tonight's episode, like I said, is a two-parter. This is part 1. There are going to be 5 movies that we review, and technically 6, because 2 movies are basically the same movie, but they're 2 different movies, and we'll explain. So your list is Last Shift, and the second part to that is Malum. So those are the 2 that we're going to talk about. Same movie, but basically 2 different times that these were created, and obviously they changed the name. Second movie is When Evil Lurks. Third movie is It Lives Inside. Fourth movie is No One Will Save You, and our 5th movie is Infinity Pool.
Pretty good list there. Let's get into it.
All right. Last Shift and Malum. We're going to talk about these kind of together and kind of give you the comparisons of the movies. Me personally, out of the 2, I liked Last Shift, which is the original movie, and Malum is the Hollywood remake, in my opinion. Well, not my opinion, but it is the Hollywood remake. But it's very Hollywood when it comes to horror. Yeah,
same director, too, so... it's interesting to see what the director was intending to do and the things he thought were being fixed and the things that he added. There was a lot of things that he added in the second iteration, but I don't think that it was that. Some of them were necessary and some of them were kind of out of nowhere, in my opinion. But we'll get into it.
Yeah, so it's crazy that the differences that, you know, and I'm guessing it's because money, you know, he had more money thrown at him, so he was able to
bigger budget for
have
sure.
A bigger budget, more elaborate set and effects. You know, why not go Hollywood? But sometimes it's simplicity that really just gets you.
Right.
And that's why, in my opinion, I like Last Shift more than I like Malum. It was super simple. It really reminded me of like a film major's a thesis film, where you know that they're trying to make this into something that's really special and really captures your attention, in a very very low budget and in a short amount of time. Because it was also very short. It felt like it didn't seem like it was a very long movie.
No, it was very straightforward too.
Yeah, and it got to the point. Like there was no beating around the bush. Like,
right.
Like it just things were popping off right at the beginning. So and I really liked that.
So the plot's pretty much the same for both of them. It's about a rookie police officer by the name Jessica Lauren, which I think they keep the same name in both movies, yeah. And basically, she is on her first assignment, and she's going to man basically the last shift of this police station that is about to shut down, right, for different reasons.
Yeah, I think the reason I think they said that they built a new station, but this one had issues and problems. That's why they needed to build a new station.
Yeah, something about some to do with the walls having some sort of something that was making fumes or something like that.
Oh yeah. That's why they had a hazmat team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so Lauren's supposed to wait for the hazmat team to get there, and they keep calling her and telling her, no, we're on our way, we're a little behind, we'll be there by 4 a.m., something like that is what I remember. But in the meantime, creepy stuff starts going on. At first I thought there was ghosts, like it might have been hunted. There was sounds, like strange sounds, and just a lot of creepy stuff going on. The suspense, especially in Last Shift, was very well done.
Yeah, that's why I like it. It's just everything in Malin was good, but I think Last Shift just I like I said, because it felt like one of those like student films, like they were pouring their heart and soul into this feature, that they really wanted to make an impression on you, and that's what I got, and it obviously made an impression on me because I love this movie a lot more than I love Malin.
Yeah, the indie grit that it had. I heard some people, or I read some reviews even, that said it was too slow, especially in the beginning. And I kind of understand what they're saying, but I think the build-up, the suspense, the tension that they're building, especially in that first half of the movie, while maybe a little bit slow, it was very intense. So I think that's the grit that it really had. Plus, the movie is very contained. It's all in this one place, and they don't move around a lot, neither in flashbacks or anything like that. They go outside a little bit, but most of it is inside of the station. So that's,
And there's very minimal like areas of the station. I think there's like 4, if you were to call it practical sets, there's like 4 areas that she went.
Yeah, especially the jail where they keep people, the cells.
Yeah.
Right, and they keep telling her don't go to the cells because whatever shit's going on, and but she has to, right? Like her job, because at first she's very professional, especially in Last Shift. The character is very professional. She's going by protocol, doing everything by the book. So the plot really drives her to go into these places where she supposedly wasn't supposed to go.
Yeah. So you just were talking on the on that they had ghosts and sounds and things like that. So what really went down is that the strange noises and the things with the doors opening, the homeless guy. There was a homeless guy, basically.
Yeah.
Not key to it, but he was an integral part of the story, reappearing and disappearing from time to time. But they're essentially having a break-in with these cult people.
Right. Right, because the backstory is that her dad had died trying to arrest, I guess, this cult leader.
Yeah, and I think he was killed.
Yeah. Well, they say that he was killed on site. There was the leader of the cult was John Michael Payman, which then they later changed the name to John Malum, which is why they call the movie Malum. I don't know. What did you think of that change?
I didn't like that. I mean,
Not too much, huh?
Yeah, it's too much on the nose,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, somebody named Malum, like, oh, I hope he's a good guy.
Yeah, I mean, personally, I think if they were going to Hollywood this up, and I've seen this before, where indie films get bigger budgets, but they keep their name. They don't change the name.
Yeah,
And
a lot of change. Like I said, some of the changes were kind of unnecessary. I didn't get it, but okay.
Yeah, I just wish they would have just kept it the same. I mean, I think I still would have liked the original better, than the remake.
Yeah.
But it's crazy that that they would do those little type of changes. Like maybe he was just thinking people wouldn't remember. And you got diehard fans out there. They're gonna know right off the bat.
One character I did like, and they did bring her back, Natalie Victoria as Marigold. She's like a prostitute or something, and I kind of like the first version of her. That performance was really cool. When they bring her back, they add a little bit more. When you first see her, she's being kicked out of a car, and she just rolls on the asphalt, and then they do kind of the same thing. But that character, that actress really brought it in, especially in the first movie.
Yeah. The actors that they got for Last Shift compared to Malum, I think, are just a lot better too, because you get a lot of these indie actors and they're hungry. They have something to prove, opposed to people who are, I wouldn't say so much seasoned, because there wasn't really A-list actors like in Malum.
Yeah, no.
But these are actors that you've seen around the block and seen from film to film here and there. Character actors, nobodies, but trying to make a name for themselves. And you know,
nothing too big, nothing too small, but like
yeah, but they've you know they got, I guess, in their mind, or at least this is how I'm thinking, is that they have it already in their head, like, you know, I'm an already established actor. I don't need to, you know, give my 100%. You know, as long as I'm getting paid, I'm just going to be here and, you know, go through the motions. It's what it felt like to me with Malum compared to Last Shift, is that you know, they were just going through the motions. They were just hired actors reading the parts, you know, opposed to the people who originally played these parts. They had something, you know, to prove. It was, and their performances were great. Like, especially if you watch them one right after the other, you'll see the differences.
Yeah, the only actress I recognize is the protagonist from Malum. Her name is Jessica Sula. I remember her from a British TV show called Skins, but she had like a very short appearance in there, probably just like 2 or 3 episodes. They kill her character off pretty quickly. But yeah, other than that, I don't remember anybody else. Yeah, Malum actually adds a lot to the lore, and it explains a lot more. They go into like the people who were behind the whole thing. John Malum is actually, they have like some sort of relationship with the mom of the lady, and they changed that thing where like the dad just dies trying to bring in the bad guys, and in this one he becomes a hero. In Malum he becomes a hero, but then he goes crazy and kills a bunch of people in the station. So now there's like the whole thing, and people don't like her because it has that whole background. But then they come to find out it was John Malum's plan all along to bring her, not only bring her into the fold, but he had already brought the mom into the fold, and the plan was for the baby to become some sort of leader of the cult, but the dad is the one that ruins everything by actually saving them, basically. But then everything goes crazy, right? And then in the end, John Malum actually wins, right? So he turns it around and actually brings Jessica, Lauren, back into the fold. So that's kind of like they kind of explain it that way in the end. Meanwhile, Last Shift, what happens is that she kind of just goes crazy and thinks she's killing the members, but she was actually, come to find out, she was actually shooting the hazmat team, and then she gets shot, and that's the end. So
yeah,
kind of different endings there.
It's a little more simplistic. Especially with the retelling of the story, there were so many changes that just didn't sit well with me personally.
You change it from like a psychological thriller to like an actual supernatural, because then it gets revealed that there's a demon and all these things, and then the demon kills Jessica. I think she dies, but then brings her back as like his bride or something. Yeah, it was a weird ending at the very end.
Yeah, that's why I said it's just very far-fetched.
Yeah, they changed it completely.
So, you know,
I think less is more in the first movie.
Yeah, and I totally agree. Less is more, especially with these two movies. You know, the guy gets to direct his remake, which is rare. And, you know, not only did he direct it, but he also basically rewrote it, because he wrote down aspects that he liked, I guess, from the first one, and then he decided that he wanted to make a whole bunch of changes.
Yeah.
And
he was like, I have all these new toys. Let me just shoehorn them in.
Yeah. It almost felt like he was trying to make like what's like a Warhol-esque, I don't even know if this is making sense, but like Warhol-esque Manson family film.
Okay.
Like his taken version of it. And he's like, well, I've got, you know, all this at my disposal, so let's just create a whole new story. And it's like, dude.
Yeah, a lot of bits got retconned, and I don't know if it ended up being the same thing. I think not.
Yeah,
maybe he thought
changing the narrative just to me is bullshit. Like, he should have just stuck to his guns. on the original story. And even if he Hollywooded up the original story, I think that would have been still 10 times better than, what we got here with this film.
Yeah, it did feel a little bit lazy in Malum because you have all these new elements, but then you're using these old ones. Like in my opinion, if you had all this new budget, just do a new thing. Let Last Shift be Last Shift. Some people said, well, maybe they should have called it Last Shift Malum or something like that.
And really, it instead of doing a remake, I felt like he could have. Well, no, because that wouldn't have worked. I was going to say make it a sequel,
like a sequel or a prequel.
But no, it wouldn't have worked because he's retelling a story.
Yeah.
But he's changing aspects of it.
Yeah, my opinion,
they're major aspects.
Make a new movie.
Yeah.
You have all these new ideas. Do something with those new ideas.
Yeah, he could have did something way better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I really like Last Shift, so I gave it 4 stabs.
I also agree and give it 4 stabs. Malum, I think I would give it 3 stabs.
I went 2.5.
Wow.
The acting was really good. Don't get me wrong. Jessica Sula is really good in this, but and then the monster was really cool at the end. It was really Cronenberg-esque, and more Cronenberg-esque than a Cronenberg movie that we'll talk about later. But the monster was really cool. I mean, okay, maybe I'll change it to 3 stabs.
All right.
Because the monster was actually really cool. But it made no sense.
Yeah.
It would have been a lot cooler if it had some meaning, some significance.
Oh, don't worry. The next podcast, part 2, we're going to be talking about a movie that has no meaning and makes no sense. So just you wait.
Oh, yeah.
All right, moving on. But before we move on, I just want to let you guys know that this podcast is unofficially sponsored by Liquid Death. And here we are drinking Severed Lime.
Severed Lime, yep. Favorite. Fan favorite.
Thank you, Liquid Death, for murdering our thirsts while we talk to you about horror. All right.
Refreshing.
The next movie is When Evil Lurks.
When Evil Lurks. I did not know this movie was a foreign movie.
I also did not know this movie was a foreign movie.
Yeah, when I got the file, there was SRTs, and I was like, wait, I need SRTs for this? I need subtitles?
Yeah, when I heard that, I was like, oh, man.
I'm going to have to read?
The movie cover looks really cool.
Yeah, the poster is amazing.
That is not the poster that I saw.
No, the poster that I saw was with the lady with the,
there we go.
With the hatchet. The hatchet pointing.
Or axe.
I thought she was just
carrying
it.
Axe.
But no, when you see the scene...
Yeah, it looks like she was carrying it, but now that you look up, when you blow it up, she's kneeling down, and then the head of the axe is pointed at her face.
Pointed at her face, yep.
But yeah, when I saw that, I was like, oh, that looks fucking cool. I wonder what this is about.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be like a slasher movie, like a serial killer or something.
And then when I watched it, I was just like, oh.
Yeah, it's completely different. Plot. There's a couple of guys in rural Argentina, somewhere in the rural area, somewhere in Argentina, and 2 brothers are having to deal with this possession that's going on in their lands, or actually where they live. Turns out the lands belong to a landlord who is also having to deal with this possession that is going on in their land, and it just goes from there. It just the possession just is more like an infection that goes from person to person, and they're just trying to survive it. Basically, it's a survival movie. Yeah.
So I want to say I don't like it, but I can't say that because the story's great. The originality of it is great. For it being a possession film, it doesn't feel like The Exorcist.
Exactly, that's what I was going to say.
Yeah, so I loved that aspect of it. So nobody was ripping them off.
It came out the same time as Believer, and they just approached the possession genre much more freshly than even an Exorcist movie.
Yeah, and when I was younger, I loved the shit out of foreign movies. I would read a motherfucker like a book. Yeah, but as of late in my older years here, like it's real hard for me to pay attention to all the subtitles, and I don't know. Maybe in the DVD it might have like an option for it to be in English, but sometimes those are real crappy because then you got the old stereotype Chinese kung fu film where the lips are moving but it's not matching the words.
Yeah, if the voiceover acting is good, it can be enjoyable.
Yeah, and there are quite a few movies out there that have that, but since we get our stuff from a pirate, we don't have that option. So SRTs are the way that we have to roll with these, which basically are the subtitles for a pirated film. And yeah, just reading it, it was really hard for me to really get involved and really like it. But I powered through it. I watched it. I read it. Everything about this movie, is fucking great. The story is completely original. Like I said, it didn't rip off anything Exorcistus, while still having it being a possession movie.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and talking about the subtitles, actually, they helped me because I'm pretty fluent in Spanish, but Argentinian Spanish is kind of fast for me, and they have colloquialisms that I'm not too familiar with, and yeah, the English subtitles pretty much helped me with that. But no, it was enjoyable, and the movie is relentless. Once it gets going, it's like a snowball. It just keeps going and going. More terrible shit happens after more terrible shit, and then when you think they're gonna get a breather, more terrible shit happens, and
as I'm watching it, I'm just like making faces, and I'm just like, oh my god. And it's one of those things where it's like it's not bad as in I don't want to watch this anymore. It's bad like holy shit.
Yeah,
and
it's gory, it's gross.
It's got me hooked, and I'm like, what's gonna happen next?
Yeah. There's some really fucked up shit that happens on this movie, and the guy, even the characters are not. I couldn't really root for them because they kept making these bad decisions, and I always have this pet peeve of mine where when a character just makes a mistake just for the plot to advance, I feel like that's not it's lazy writing, but somehow in this one it really works. Every time he makes a mistake, it's like, well, you fucked up, man. Like, we can't. How can we help you at this point? Like, something bad's gonna happen, okay? And then it does. Yeah, it's relentless. It's brutal. Even kids are not safe.
Yeah, and that's the other thing too. It's always like a faux pas in film for you to like fuck with a kid.
Yeah, right.
Or have a kid. You see a kid, something terrible happen, because then everybody's on the same page. It's like, oh, fuck this movie. Like,
yeah.
What do they do that for?
Yeah, here's a big spoiler, but I think it would sell the movie if you're kind of on the fence of watching it. There's this scene where the mom, who is possessed, comes back for the kid, and she goes, I have to get my kid back. He's safer with me, and pretty much abducts him and takes him away. By the time the uncle catches up to her, she's eating the brains out of the skull of the kid, and she's just carrying the kid like a rag doll and just digging into the skull and eating the brains. To me, that was like, oh my god, all right, this movie is not nice to any of its characters.
Yeah.
When your mom eats your brains out of your skull, yeah, that was a bad day.
Yep. Jesus. Yeah, it's yeah, and I think that's what kept me hooked and kept me going, because I was just like, this is not normal. This is out of the norm, because obviously it's a foreign film, so they're not going to be held to the same standards as, US films. So they're going to be able to just let it all out. And that is fucking fantastic. I couldn't get enough of it. It was great.
Some of the I do have a couple of criticisms. The rules, they play kind of loosey-goosey with the rules of the universe. Sometimes, because remember they had 7 rules. I can't remember all of them right now, but it was like, don't be afraid to die, and don't shoot them with guns. Don't shoot the possessed with guns. That was a big one. So that scene where the lady, you see her in the poster with a hatchet. She's pointing at one of their goats, and the goats, the animals are possessed. So she's like, that goat right there is possessed. So the guy comes out with a gun. He's like, no, don't shoot him because you're not supposed to shoot them. And that's when she grabs the axe or the hatchet. But the guy, that scene where the goat actually walks up to him because he's pointing at it with the gun, and then the fucking goat walks up to him and puts his head up to the barrel, like daring him, like, I wish you would, motherfucker. And
some balls on that goat.
Yeah, dude. I was like, damn. Even Black Phillip would be impressed by this motherfucker.
Fucking Black Phillip. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, and he shoots him anyway. So like that's when you see like it spreads, I guess, right? And then she kills him, and she even kills herself. So that was crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely no holds barred on this fucking film.
Yeah.
There it is. There's our pirate making his special entrance. This episode will be guest starred. Yeah, I enjoyed this movie. Like as soon as I found out with the subtitles, like I said, just reading them right off the bat, my first impression was like, I'm not gonna enjoy this. This is not gonna be good. I'm not too happy about this. But when it was done, and I had to process everything that I had just visually seen, then I was just like, holy shit.
Yeah, most of the special effects were practical, so that's another props to this movie.
Yeah, I love practical effects. Word out to my bro out there, Al Cortez, Afterlife FX. Yeah, practical effects, that's where it's at. Fucking digital shit like you see on sci-fi, like Sharknado shit. Just not my jam. It has to be very practical.
Yeah.
I love that shit.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they did an outstanding job. I mean, probably obviously you can't call it best foreign film, but for us and what we're about in the horror, I would say this is the best foreign horror movie that I've seen in a real long time.
Yeah, very, very little criticism for this one. Like I said, the rules were didn't make sense all of the time, and the dialogue was a little chaotic, I think. But overall, good concept, well executed. I liked it.
Yeah, definitely 4 out of 5 stabs for me.
Same, 4 stabs.
All right, moving on to It Lives Inside.
Oof.
Another foreign film.
I expected a lot more from this one, but it was very generic. What did you think?
Yeah, about the same. This is they were Indian, right?
Indian, yeah.
Was this in India or was this in another country? I don't remember.
This was in America, but I can't remember where. But they're supposed to be Indian American, and the parents are immigrants. So it's kind of like an immigrant story. It's also a story about assimilation because the girl, Samida, who goes by Sam because she's trying to like Americanize herself a lot, but in doing so, she distances herself from her heritage and her language and the lore of her country, and this causes her to dismiss some evil entity that is trying to. I guess there's more possession in this one as well. There's like a possession type thing going on as well. And
full on possession.
Yeah, and the very last scene is her dealing with this possession and actually accepting her culture and the ways of her people to deal with this this deity, this evil deity.
Yeah, and basically it was her decision to accept the entity to basically save her friends.
Right. Host
family.
Host the entity, I guess.
Yeah, because the entity couldn't live without it being in a host of some sort.
In a host or
being trapped.
Trapped in a way, yeah. Right. That's what it was.
So since they couldn't retrap it, they had to find a host for it, and she volunteered herself to take on that role.
Yeah, that was pretty weird. They had to feed it some sort of thing at the end. I was like, what is this?
Yeah, it's not a lot. I mean, it's obviously because I don't understand the culture and a lot of their religious, aspects of their life, and all the things that go into what makes them them. It was really hard for me to kind of know what was going on at certain points, the way they were going through the story, and I was just like, I don't know what the fuck they're doing or why they're doing it. Obviously, it's I think the feeding thing was kind of like their version of a sacrifice, at least, or that's how I took it. To give it offerings.
Yeah, the story, the concept was really good. I liked what they were trying to say, but the movie became very generic and very predictable as well. There was some left turns here and there that I was like, okay, that's interesting, but yeah, overall it felt like a 90s B movie with teenage drama peppered into it, which is pretty much every other horror movie. So it became very generic. I feel like there was a lot of things that they could have really done and said from the cultural perspective that they have, and they just didn't go there.
It almost feels like they took a Bollywood movie and tried to like Americanize it, but still leave some of the aspects of like the Indian culture from Bollywood in it. And it just to me it just didn't work. They could have told a different story, or at least a better story, with their heritage and their background, incorporating into the type of possession horror movie. I just think it could have been differently executed. The performances were okay, just okay. Megan Suri, beautiful girl, good actress. Not a lot of things that that she was given with the script that was written. So that's kind of sucked. Yeah, and I mean a lot of I think everybody in this movie to me is a virtual unknown. I've never seen them anything else. I don't also follow the Bollywood world or like Indian television, so I don't know if she is previously, an actress of that culture, or if she's just strictly been an American actress.
Yeah.
And what she's been in.
Well, she's very young too, so.
Yeah, so she has time to hone in her ability to, really portray. Because even though if she was a seasoned actress, I think that she would have been able to, to display a lot more. Because, real good actors can be able, if they're even just given a shitty script and that they're supposed to go off of, they can still be the one thing that, stands out from the rest of the film. Is that them personally in their acting makes the film what it is, and then everybody else is just subpar and the story subpar, but that one person who went above and beyond, you're just like, man, that's why I remember that film.
Yeah.
But she has some time. I think she has some time to to become that person.
Absolutely. Plus, I think they left it a little bit open-ended, so there might be a sequel to this. I don't know. They might follow up. Who knows? Because they left it kind of open-ended, in my opinion, to where like she could come back because she still has the entity in her, right? So
yeah,
they might bring it back. They might not. Who knows? But depends. I guess it will depend on reception from the audience. But
here it said only made like 7.3 million, so not very much.
Good.
But it is an indie film, so I don't know by indie standards if that's good or bad.
Right.
But me, I gave it 3 stabs.
3 stabs. I was a little more strict. I gave it 2.
I think you have to really for me to give you a 2 is you have to really make a shitty movie.
Yeah.
Just real shitty movie. 3 is basically, a great job. You made a horror movie. You're thinking about the horror community, and you tried. You gave it your all. You tried. You did your best. And this is what we're watching from what you did. So good job.
It's like you said earlier, off the mic. They are keeping the horror genre alive, and props to that.
Yeah, totally. Anybody who's out there doing it, I'm not doing it, so this is what I'm doing instead.
Yeah.
I would love to make a fucking horror movie, any kind of movie, but I would love to make a horror movie. It's just, I have to just get off my ass and do it. Yeah, but there's a lot more. People tell you that all the time, but it's just a lot more into it than just getting off my ass and doing it. You got to have the right people, you got to have funds. Funds is a big one. It takes a lot of money to make something that's, it looks like it's so cheap, but, in actuality, they're not. So, but yeah, kudos to everybody that's doing it. Next on our list here, No One Will Save You.
No One Will Save You. Yes.
No One Will Save You. This movie has Caitlin. Is it? I don't know how to pronounce her last name. I think it's like Deaver.
Deaver, yeah.
Deaver or Dever. But she is the youngest daughter from Last Man Standing, the Tim Allen TV show. She's been in quite a few films, actually. What are some of the ones that really stand out for her? Oh yeah, Booksmart. So she's in the movie Booksmart with.
Honestly, I haven't seen any of these.
No.
Mm-mm.
Beanie Feldstein, which is Jonah Hill's sister.
Ah.
But this movie's really good. So
they do look alike now that I see it.
Yeah, she's been in Booksmart. She's on the TV show Justified. Like I said, she was on Last Man Standing.
I see a couple of things here. Ticket to Paradise, which I've never seen, with George Clooney. Unbelievable. I don't know what that is. Rosaline, also never seen it. She stars in it. It's a comedy romance. The only thing I know about Caitlin Deaver is she was just announced she's going to play Abby in The Last of Us the next season, the second season.
Oh yeah, I read something about that the other day.
So that's pretty exciting, and
I meant to tell you about that. I thought I sent you the fucking link that I saw it on Instagram.
Yeah, I think I saw it, and man, she's going to play Abby.
I know nothing about.
Good luck. I mean,
and that's what I hear from everybody who's played this fucking video game.
Oh my god.
Of what this character is. That's all I hear is, good luck.
Yeah, she's gonna get so much hate mail. If you're listening to this, please let me be the first one to say, do not harass this actress. She's just an actress playing a role. No death threats or any of that shit, please, because, man, that's brave.
Wow, she sounds like she is one motherfucker that's in the making.
Yeah. And she was really good in this No One Will Save You, especially because there's no script, there's no dialogue, virtually.
Yeah,
it's not a silent movie per se, but there's literally there's only a few lines.
Yeah, there's 5 lines.
Yeah,
or not 5 lines. I think it's 5 words. They're not even lines.
Yeah, and I think that was a good choice because.
And this is where I was telling you from that last movie is that it takes a certain actor or actress to be able to carry a movie like that or be able to work in a movie like that, where everything that they're doing is basically, it's like the old vaudeville where they have to use their body because there was no such thing as talkies back in that time. Right. So
she had to emote very. A lot of it. Some people said it was overacted. It was too much or whatever, over the top. But to be able to emote and transmit thoughts and feelings without saying anything, just your face and your actions, it takes a special kind of talent to do that.
Yeah, and she was I think she was not over the top. She was great. Yeah, she did a very good job. Another thing about this movie too is it's a fucking alien movie.
Yeah, it's I wrote alien invasion meets home invasion. Yeah. But then it goes beyond that. So that's basically the first 15, 20 minutes of the movie, and then it just expands after that.
It was like they could have made this into either a series or they could have made this into a couple films.
Especially because the ending, people complain about the ending, and I understand why. It did leave you like, wait a minute. So what happened? You're like, okay. But it did leave me wanting more, I guess. Especially the ending, but yeah. Another complaint that I heard about a lot was the CGI. Did the aliens bother you too much?
No. I mean, I don't like CGI to begin with, but the CGI I thought was okay.
Yeah.
It was, it wasn't over the top. It wasn't very sci-fi-esque. I hold the Sci-Fi Station just a standard because everything they do is basically a B movie, and you can tell that it's fake and it's CGI. Obviously, aliens. I don't know if they don't look like this, at least not to my knowledge or to anybody's knowledge. We obviously acknowledge that they're out there now, but as for the look of them, I mean, I thought it was pretty good. I mean,
Yeah, and they varied it, right? Like, 'cause at first it seemed like it was gonna be just your generic alien, like the Alien Autopsy type alien. But then they make like this giant one that looks like a spider, and then there's this little one, and they had like different aliens, right?
Yeah, it's good that they changed it up, because then people aren't going to be like kind of using the stale, old trope. It's just another, just another stupid alien movie.
Yeah,
Just same aliens, different story, basically.
yeah. This one was interesting because, well, the plot is basically Bryn. She's this girl who lives in this small town, but she lives in like a really nice property. I was like, what is the property tax on this house, man? Because it's really nice, and who cleans it? It's like really organized, but only she lives in it. I'm like, there's no dust anywhere. But anyway, whatever.
Yeah, she's
I'm
a
too
very
hung up on things.
she's a very young woman.
Yeah.
To be having this type of life.
Yeah. Like, what is her job? Like, how does she make money? Anyway, but people in the town don't like her. And
Just kidding.
people don't like her because not because of the OnlyFans, but because she killed one of the. He killed a kid, right? When she was a kid, she killed her best friend, basically.
So yeah, she. You were saying that Bryn killed her best friend, who was the daughter of the sheriff.
And the rest of the town seems to ostracize her for that as well. So she can't find no love anywhere in this town anyway. And that's another thing that adds to it, right? No one wants to talk to her, so like that's also why there's no dialogue. Like, nobody wants to talk to this lady, and so more reason to keep it a silent movie. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, like in the beginning, like where she's like walking through the cemetery and there's like an actual like funeral going on, and people all like they see her, and she kind of just looks at them like awkwardly, and then she kind of raises her hand up like hi.
Yeah.
And they just stare at her.
Yeah. It makes it really
and
awkward.
then she's like, oh, okay, and then puts her hand down and just keeps going.
Yeah, and it's really bad when she tries to go back to town, because she kills an alien at first, and this is the first 15 minutes. Like, the alien goes in there, and they have like this crazy fight where the alien has some sort of telekinetic powers and things like that. There was this part where like she tries to flee, she tries to leave the house, and the alien just throws the front door at her. And I'm like, holy shit. That was another part where I was like, some of the rules don't really make sense. Sometimes, like if you have telekinetic powers, you could have just. But anyway, she ends up.
But that's where I differ with you on that. Is I think it's nice because it's a difference. There's a change.
Okay.
It's not just an alien just either being fucking super fast or like just appearing in front of the person or holding the person back. Like, this thing is somewhat on like threat level 3 or 4, and it's like, well, if I can't stop her where she's coming, then I'll grab something and just pull it at her.
Okay.
And that will stop her. It was cool to see something with powers. Most of these aliens that you see are just kind of like really lethargic, or they're just like it's like Slowpoke Rodriguez, where they're just like kind of like going in the motions, or just trying to be menacing or scary. And this thing was like in full like Rambo mode.
Right.
It wanted to fucking throw down.
Yeah, and she still takes him down though, and then after that she goes to the town. She tries to talk to the police about it, I guess, but then the sheriff is there with his wife, and his wife spits at her in the face. And that's where you go, okay, well, she's not going to get any help from anybody in this town. She's on her own, man.
Yeah.
So that was cool. She ends up having to go back to her house because one of the aliens, more possession, right? There's like these little things that the aliens use to possess the humans. And you can the special effects on that was pretty cool. You can see it on their throats, wriggling around.
Was that what that was?
Yeah, there were like these little creatures, and they would put them in their throat, and that's how they would control the humans, and the humans would like then have like
almost like a puppet master.
Yeah.
Weird.
So like the mailman, you see the mailman at first, too, and he's an asshole too because he knows he's delivering things to her house, so he treats her shit like a football. He's kicking her box, throws it, and she's watching this whole thing, and she expects it, right? She's like, okay, yeah, I know, because nobody likes me here. And then that same mailman gets possessed and is after her, so he's chasing her around. So she has to go back to her house. There's more aliens that come after her. There's this little one that she takes down, and then there's the big one. So she amasses a pretty good body count by the first half of the movie. I was thinking, like, who would win in a fight, this lady or the Predator? So it keeps going. The movie later goes into a part where there's like a flashback where like you find out what happens with her and her friend. They have like, you don't hear it. There's no real context there why they get mad. It's probably just some childish shit, and they end up in a fight, and she hits her with a rock that she finds, and she dies. So she's carrying that guilt the whole time, and she's writing letters to her as a form of like therapeutic, I guess. She can't find it in herself to forgive herself. That's why she takes the punishment from the town. She believes, at least in those moments, that she deserves it.
Yeah, she thinks it's obviously it's her fault, but she thinks it was on purpose.
Yeah.
She can't understand that it was an accident.
Right. Yeah, so that was pretty cool too when she has that vision of her as the first letter that she writes, and it was kind of cool to see that she gets to that point where she's able to forgive her younger self for what happened. So in a way, she's forgiven herself. It really cool themes on this movie. There was another part where the aliens make like a doppelganger of her and send her out to kill her, but she ends up killing the copy. So it was kind of like a metaphoric. She has to kill her former self to become that which will be herself later on, right?
Yeah. No, I see what you're saying about that.
So that was interesting too. A lot of interesting moments like that they weren't necessarily like A to B type plots. It had like some twists, some zigs when you thought it was going to sag and things of that sort. So that kept it interesting.
Yeah, it was just weird to watch because like I was waiting for them to talk the entire time. And just the few things that they did say, I'm just like, that's it?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, not a lot of gets explained. It's just action, action here and there.
But I understood everything.
Yeah.
Like, I was following along perfect. Like,
yeah.
Nothing, I wasn't really lost anywhere.
Yeah, no, me neither, except at the end. The end kind of lost me.
I just don't, I mean, obviously it's an alien movie, so they just have to, have an excuse to have aliens come down. But that was the other thing is like, I didn't understand, it was like almost everything that kept happening to her, it's like shit being thrown top of shit. And so the aliens were just the top of that shit.
Yeah.
And it's like, how much can they, how much bad can they do to this poor girl?
Yeah.
And then get an alien invasion / attack on top of that.
Yeah. And she actually gets abducted, right? And the aliens probe her and all this stuff. That's when she goes into that vision.
Yeah.
Because they're like trying to find out what's going on with this person, right? That's been killing them the whole time. And then they send her back. They kind of sympathize with her struggle, I guess. And then they just send her back without possessing her, without controlling her.
Yeah, I mean, they obviously saw that she's not trying to kill them. Like she's, fighting for her life. It's self-defense, basically.
Surviving, yeah.
Yeah, survival. So, and, much like the Predator, they give respect to that, if you survive, you overcome the odds of everything.
Yeah.
It's, not so much the victors goes the spoils, but then, they just have that, that feeling, like the one with Alien versus Predator, where the Predator used the alien's blood and like marked the chick's face.
Oh yeah.
As a sign of respect.
Right. Yeah. That was a cool moment. Yeah.
So it was probably the same thing. They looked at her, and after they probed her, they're just like, "Oh shit, well, fuck, okay,
yeah,
send her on her way."
Right. They pretty much gave her the town, right? Because everyone else is has that little alien thing, and that last scene where she's dancing and they're like at a carnival of some sort or something, and everyone else seems to be alienized except for her.
Yeah.
So like I guess the aliens are kind of learning from her how to be in this planet or whatever. That's what I gathered. But like I said, it was kind of like the ending was not so much confusing as much as it was they just sort of glazed over the rest of it, you know?
I mean, to me, it seems like that they found, who they wanted to.
Because it's a full invasion, right? By the end, you see like all these flying saucers all over the place, and it becomes like a full invasion of I'm guessing the planet. That's the thing. Like a lot of those things.
It's like they commiserated with her. They.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. They're like, she's got it bad, and fuck all of these people. So they came to her aid, and they helped her out. So
okay. Okay, I see.
That's why they didn't possess her or take her over. At least I think, and that's why they did the entire town, because now she could be happy.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
They saw what a horrible, miserable existence she was living. So
it's kind of they took her side.
Yes, they took her side
in that conflict, I guess.
Yeah, they had her back in it. So
right. No, I see that.
That's what I was trying to convey.
I see that. Yeah, for sure. But yeah. In the end was a little bit. They left it kind of like loose, so they didn't like tie it all up and like neatly at the end, in my opinion. But
yeah, they could make a part 2 to it. Maybe the next town over or the next city over or a different area.
Yeah,
and hopefully, if they did a different area of them, they're not retelling the same story. Maybe the story is once they have their one person, or maybe that's their formula. They leave one person.
Okay. That's not that it's completely necessary, but I would have liked to see a little more or learn a little more about the aliens. Why are they invading? Why are they here? That type of thing. But
I think that's what I was trying to get to earlier. Is like, why were they invading? Like, that aspect of the story was the only thing I didn't really understand.
Right. Exactly.
It was just basically like a shitstorm for her, and then now aliens are involved.
Okay.
She was obviously some lines that should have been used was "fuck my life." So, but I mean, other than that, I thought it was pretty good. Even like I said, the acting was great without the dialogue. So I would give it definitely a 4 out of 5 stabs.
I actually liked it a little more. I gave it a 4.5.
4.5.
4.5 stabs. So almost a perfect score.
Yeah.
Only because the ending was not my favorite, but yeah.
Okay. So last on our list here is Infinity Pool. This movie was a mind fuck, like just crazy.
Yeah, this one was crazy, especially because the director Brandon Cronenberg.
Yep, son of famed horror director David Cronenberg.
Yeah, and the cast. You have, Mia Goth, Alexander Skarsgård. Just by those 3 names, I expected. I don't know what I expected, but I expected a lot.
Yeah, I actually didn't realize that the chick M. Foster that plays Alexander's wife in the movie, her name
Cleopatra Coleman.
Cleopatra Coleman.
Yeah.
She was Erica on Last Man Standing. I used to watch that show a lot. Like, it was one of my favorite shows on TV.
Okay.
And I didn't realize that was her.
That was her, huh?
Yeah. I don't know if I was just in a fog about her, because one aspect of me was like, fuck, she looks so familiar, but I can't really put my finger on it, and I was trying to rack my brain on where I've seen her before, and I'm just like, I couldn't really picture it.
Yeah. So the plot for this one is novelist James Foster and his wife M spend time at a resort in the fictional seaside country of Litolka. I think that's how they pronounce it, where a local festival is underway. Then they meet this couple played by Mia Goth and another guy. I forgot his name.
Yeah, I don't know who the guy who was playing her husband, Albin, is the name for the character, but the actor playing him, I've never seen him before. But he did a great job. All the acting in it I thought was great. Mia Goth, obviously, it seems like that she's just playing Mia Goth now.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's actually Mia Goth as a person or if that's just her character, but it seems like she's always playing that character. Just raging psychopath bitch.
Yeah.
Sex doll slash just psychological killer. Like she really, like, in the beginning you don't really understand what's going on till it's almost towards the end. Like then you just see like what a psycho she is.
Yeah.
And how crazy, that she can push the envelope.
And she was a bit like bipolar to me, because she would be tender and then she would be real vicious. I wrote, Mia Goth is a doe-eyed wolf mother psycho bitch. That's what I wrote. So yeah, she goes from being really tender and really nice and really embracing to being like a complete, just vicious, violent.
Yeah, she's like 0 to 60 and then 60 to 0, just like that.
Yeah, it was crazy. Very well done by Mia Goth, though.
Yeah.
Very well done.
Yeah, her acting is just superb.
The guy that surprised me was Alexander Skarsgård, because you always, or at least the things I've seen him in, like, I don't know, The Northman, or what's the vampire one? True Blood. Like, he's always in charge. He's always. If you've seen him in Succession, he plays this rich guy who's like always in charge. Like he's never. And in this one, he's very vulnerable. He shows a little vulnerability, and I wasn't really used to that. It was a little shocking to see. and he looks a lot like his dad in this one. I don't know if you noticed that.
What's really crazy is listening to his dialogue. There are, like, if you were to close your eyes and then listen to some of the dialogue when he's speaking, it sounds like his dad.
Right? Yeah.
And I was like, is that Skellen? No way. That is crazy. It sounds so much like him. Like, it just certain words he says, and you're just like, wow. Like, I remember your dad saying that, like, in a film, and you sounded just like him.
Yeah. It was crazy.
Yeah, but I did notice there's some aspects of the film that he has a look to himself. So you can see as he's getting older, he's looking more and more like his dad, right?
Yeah, that's good.
Opposed to his brothers. His brothers look nothing like their dad.
Yeah. That's crazy. But yeah, this movie was kind of weird. I didn't know what to expect. There's not a lot of the Cronenbergian isms of the body horror. I guess some of it. There's a couple of the scenes with the where they're all having group sex and stuff. There's like a nipple that explodes at some point for no reason. I didn't get that. But other than that, it was completely different from like any Cronenberg, which I guess it's good for him.
Yeah. He needs he's carving out his own niche.
Yeah.
In this, he doesn't want to be known as a copy.
Right. No, that's good.
Because then he's riding the coattails of his dad or biting the coattails of his dad. So you don't want that.
Yeah.
He's doing his own thing and he's making his own name for it. He's trying to create his own Cronenbergisms.
Right. So the reveal for this one is that they are in a foreign country where if you get in trouble, the penalty is death. But they have this thing where if you have enough money, you can pay for your death penalty to be paid by somebody else. And that somebody else is a clone of yourself.
I was going to say, wait a minute, where are you going with this?
Yeah.
That doesn't sound right. But yes.
They clone you, and then they kill your clone, basically.
Yeah, the rules of the country is if you do something that kills somebody else to bring honor to that family,
right?
You're being put to death by a member of that family.
Right. Yeah.
And then to get out of that, the rich can buy their way out, and the way that they can buy their way out is, which also that was the one thing I never understood, is like how this country is so poor and crazy that they have a fucking cloning facility.
Yeah. They make it
randomly has this in at the police station.
Since it's fictional, they don't really say where, but the looks of it looked like Soviet times type of country of somewhere in like Eastern Europe or something. But then there's like a super nice beach and like mountainous area, so it's kind of like an amalgamation of all these different things.
Yeah, it's weird how they put all that together. But yeah, it's just that they clone you, and then you have the No, you don't have the option. They said it was mandatory.
Yeah, you have to watch.
You have to sit and watch your clone be killed.
Yeah, and then they give you this little urn.
Yeah, so it looks like afterwards they cremate the body and then they give it to you as a souvenir. Like, what?
Well, at least you get your money's worth. Damn.
It's like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, a lot of weird shit. Crazy concept. Murder tourism is what I wrote.
Yeah, so basically what it sounds like. Yeah, so they handpick James, Mia Goth, and the guy who is
another rich
playing Albin
couple. Yeah,
another rich couple, and then there's multiple rich couples on this island or country or whatever the fuck it is. I don't know exactly what it is, but they I guess they all come here like once a year, like to get away and unwind. So it's
and commit crimes and.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me a little bit of what was that Hostel?
Okay, yeah,
like with the killing games,
right?
That they had. That's kind of where I was trying to make the connection there, but I don't know if it ever like happened. But that's what it reminded me of. But that's what popped in my head. I was like, oh, I got a little Hostel feel.
Right. Yeah.
So they're there once a year, and then I don't know if they pick people or if they just happened to come across this guy or found out who he was by chance. And then they inserted themselves into his life at the resort. Treated him really nice, invited him out. Basically,
seduced him.
Yeah, pulled him a bunch of bullshit like how they're the biggest fans and they read his book and
and
and then just kind of like pumped up his
they stroke his ego a lot in the beginning.
So, and then like their objective was to get him into the trouble to start leading him into that whole, not killing for hire, but basically having him do their dirty work.
Yeah.
It seemed like, because that's where they look like they're trying to like, oh, you want to hang out with us? Well, you need to go do this for us. And,
right.
We'll let you continue to be our friend, or do stuff, or go and have these wild orgies. And then they just kept pumping him up, and then like he would just he'd get all riled up and be like, yeah, I want to fucking do this, and let's go do it. And yeah, it was definitely a really cool roller coaster ride. It was different.
Yeah, definitely different. Yeah. So yeah, the concept is very different,
but super fucked up. Like with the whole cloning situation, and then like he got a taste of watching the murder. Like it seemed like he was like into his own snuff film. Just watching himself get killed. And so you see like he's just really getting into it because he's like fully focused with what was happening.
Yeah, and what was funny is that he wasn't even the rich one. His wife was the rich one.
Yeah.
So he was kind of getting a taste of like this extreme wealthy people eccentricities, right?
Yeah, obviously something he's not used to. It's like, when the not so popular kid gets invited to the party by the popular kids, and then all of a sudden they're hanging out together, and so then the kid, thinks I'm untouchable.
Right. But the whole time they're playing with him. They're manipulating. They're toying with him, and he gets to find that out the hard way at the end.
Yeah, it was very, very much a mind fuck, which was just super crazy. Like just the ins and outs that they had to go through, and all the hoops and shit that they were pulling. And how nonchalant the police department was about it. Just like, well, you killed somebody again, so pay up. And then, like, they didn't give a fuck. They're obviously like true to form of like third world countries that have no money. They're just like, this is how we're gonna get our fucking revenue.
Right. Yeah, it's like going to.
Oh, you killed somebody? Great. You got the money to get out of this? Great.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, and then. At the end, the only thing that was confusing for me is because he's got like 3 or 4 urns at the end. He's got like because he hides his passport when his wife says, all right.
I didn't realize he did that until the end when I saw him reach underneath the sink, and there it was. Right. And I'm like, motherfucker.
Yeah. Because his wife was like, let's get out of here. And he's like, oh, I can't find my passport. I don't know what happened. You go ahead and catch up or whatever. But he wanted to stay, and he wanted to.
Yeah, and at first I thought it was bullshit. I was like, no, he's just saying that because he doesn't want to go. And then the more it went on, like they kept with the new group of people, the orgy people, I'll call them. The one guy was like, oh, I'll talk to my son-in-law. And he'll figure out the passport.
We'll get you out of here. Don't worry.
And then like later,
in the meantime.
Yeah, and then later on in the film, again, he brings up the passport situation. He's like, oh, well, the reason that you can't get a passport or they can't let you off the island is, the detective obviously has something out for you and shit.
Oh, right.
And so, and then they obviously like plan another like elaborate scheme using the detective as bait, for him, because he knows now that, or they know now that, he's gonna have a wild hair up his ass to like, want to get even with the detective for keeping him there.
Yep.
Or at least so they think. But yeah, it was such a twist and turn, from every aspect, we're just like, I was on the edge of my seat like almost the entire time I was watching it. I was just like, wow, this is just fucking crazy.
Yeah. It was really heavy on the, like you said, it was a complete mindfuck. But then in the end, what I wanted to believe was that either he stays. I couldn't really tell if he stays.
Yeah,
at
he
the
stays.
end, or if he sent out a clone and he stayed, but somebody else.
Oh, that is a good question.
Boards the plane.
Was that him on the bus? And also how normal everybody was acting on the bus. It was like, well, we're done killing. And
they were back to.
It was.
We gotta think about it, like things of The Office, or like I'm gonna go back to remodeling the house. Or
Albin's got to go back to work. So when he's doing that, I remodel the house. And
right.
And then all just started talking like, it was like normal
shit.
Yeah, normal shit. And you're just like, what? And that's why I thought he was just sitting in the very back of the bus behind them while they were talking all their bullshit. And he looked a little perplexed, like, how do these people just do this and then go back to their normal lives? Yeah. But yeah, that is a good question. Was that actually him, or was that a clone?
Right.
That was going back.
Yeah, because at the end he stays and he's just,
because that was one of the things they said about the clones, is that it retains all your memories.
And it's basically another you. So yeah.
Yeah. So was that him that was in the bus, or was it a clone of him? And then he just stayed there at the resort during the rainy season, just getting fucking rained on in that sun chair.
Right. It reminded me of like the end of the Blade Runner, right? Where like you can't tell if Deckard is actually a human or is he an android.
Yeah, or is he one of the replicants?
Right.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, but this movie was, it was definitely, there were certain things like I thought, but I couldn't put my finger on it, so I couldn't really like say I knew what was going to happen next, because it was just like, it was all over the place. And it was very, very, very well written. That whole fucking passport scene, I was like, I knew it.
Yeah.
I knew it, but I didn't know it. But just seeing it was like, I still was in shock, and I was still surprised, like, that motherfucker hid the goddamn passport.
Yeah, and I think that the whole movie was carried pretty much, not the whole movie, but the majority of the movie was pretty much on the shoulders of Mia Goth, for sure.
Yeah, but like you said earlier with Alexander, it's nice to see him stray away from those roles that he's mostly known for, being the strong lead, headstrong person, always in charge, you don't fuck with type deal. Just seeing him here, how vulnerable he was, and how easily manipulated he could be. Yeah,
he showed really good range in this one.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I would give this one 4.5 stabs out of 5.
4.5.
Yeah.
Wow. I gave it 4.
Just 4?
Just 4.
Okay. All right, so that was our part 1 for episode 15. Last Shift Malum. When evil lurks, it lives inside. No one will save you. And Infinity Pool. If you guys like what you heard, you can leave us some comments. If you didn't like what you heard, you can still leave us some comments. If you disagree with anything that we talked about, drop them in the comments. We'd like to hear what your guys' opinions or what your thoughts were on these movies. Like I said, these were our opinions and thoughts of what we watched on these, and we just wanted to share them with you. Like I said, these were the movies that we came across last year that we told you guys about that we're going to check out. And now that we've checked them out, we're letting you know about them. And then our next episode will be another set of, I think it's 5 movies as well. So stay tuned. So we also, like I said earlier, we're not sponsored by them, but we would like to be one day. Liquid Death are unofficially murdering our thirst throughout this podcast.
With Severed Lime.
If you do like the music for the intro and the outro, it is by a band named Zao, Z-A-O. You can check them out on zaoonline.net. The song is a raw mixed version of Creator Destroyer off their new album, The Crimson Corridor. And if you want to check us out on all of our socials, you can find us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, Rumble, YouTube, most of all the podcasting stuff, but there's a lot of them that are shutting down and a lot of them that are changing that I've read in the recent couple weeks here. But Apple Podcast or Spotify for podcasters would be the main ones you want to check out. We also have TikTok, where we put out different horror trivia, which is also followed onto the Twitter and on Facebook and also Tumblr. And then any other important news or reviews or new horror cons that are coming eventually, you can find those on our website at www.thehorrorscene.com. You have anything you'd like to add?
Yeah, thank you guys for listening. If you made it this far, then you have heard the entire podcast.
That's right. So remember out there to stay creepy and keep it spooky. From our grave to yours, these have been your last rites.
This is Last Rites.